Hello, it's James Shipley from Dorney Lake Events, doing the online event brief for the Dorney Lake Triathlon. It's going to take place on August the 29th at Dorney Lake in Windsor. If you haven't done an event this summer, then you might be wondering why we're doing this online video before the event. Basically what it is on normal times, we would normally do, the race director would normally do a briefing to all the competitors before the race starts, and then they'd go through all the rules, regulations and all that sort of stuff. But what that does is encourage everybody to gather around and listen to you. And obviously with the remaining COVID restrictions in place, that's not exactly what we're after at the moment. So we do all of this online beforehand so you can watch it at your leisure. So I'm going to talk you through the day. I'll talk you through all the transition stuff, registration and all that sort of things on this video. So I'll start right at the beginning and talk about parking. So when you turn up at the venue, there will be parking marshals in place. One of the things we do differently at this venue to other organisers is that we've made our course so that you can park very, very close to registration. So if you haven't competed with us at Dorney, you'll be able to drive all the way up to the nearest car park to registration, and there'll be an overflow car park as well there. If you do want spectators, so this is some of the good news, spectators are now allowed to come to events, but what we're asking is that they only come in the car with the athlete. So if you are bringing spectators, if you could gather yourselves together before you leave for the venue and then all come in one car, that would be absolutely fantastic. And then those spectators will be able to go anywhere they like around the lake. There's loads and loads of space. And then they'll be able to watch you compete, which is fantastic news because lots and lots of events that we've done this year has had no spectators, and the competitors have been brilliant and accepted it, but it's fantastic news that we can now allow spectators to come back and they can watch you compete, which is great. Okay, so after you've parked up, you'll make your way over to the registration gazebo. And this is where we're doing something for the first time. So apologies for using you guys as guinea pigs, but we're going to do something called dynamic bib assignment. Basically what that means is when you register, you'll turn up, you'll say your surname, and the first person to register is going to be given race number 1, second person to register will be given race number 2, and so on. So we're assigning your race number at the event instead of pre-assigning everybody a race number before the race. So when you turn up at registration, you just say your surname. They'll give you a pack that will include 2 race numbers. There'll be 2 stickers, one that you attach to your bike and one that you attach to your cycling helmet. There'll also be 4 safety pins. What most triathletes tend to do is they use this number belt. So they attach one race number to their number belt. And then for the bike, that number has to be showing on the back. And then for the run, they spin it round and put it on their front. If you don't have a number belt, that's fine. What we'll do is we'll also provide some extra safety pins at registration. And then you can pin one number to your front and one number to your back. So that's absolutely fine to do as well. There'll also be a timing chip in there. The timing chip will go on a Velcro strap, which needs to go around your left ankle. It's very important that it's on your left ankle for 2 reasons. One, you don't want to get it caught up in your bike chain, but also all the antenna, which is for the chip timing, will be facing your left ankle. So if you want your split times, then make sure you're wearing it on the left. And just before, I will go on to the swim shortly after, but while we're talking about timing chips, one of the most annoying things for a chip timer is people that put their wetsuit over the top of their timing chip. It's like the competitors doing everything they can to not get a read and make the chip timers work a lot more difficult. So the Velcro strap will not come off. It's very, very strong material. So make sure you're not covering that chip with your wetsuit when you come out of the water, because otherwise you might not get a read for your swim split. Okay, so once you're registered, you'll be allowed to go into the transition area. The transition area is all numbered racking. So you'll find, if you're race number 1, there'll be a transition pole with number 1 on it, and that is where you rack your bike. There will be a baggage area in that transition area as well, but what we ask is please don't bring like massive suitcases and all that sort of thing. Just bring a small bag, just the things you need for your triathlon, and then you'll be able to store that within the transition area. But you do need to leave everything at your own risk, so please also don't bring £10 million in cash and leave it in the transition area, so no valuables or anything like that, and that would be fantastic. When you go into that transition area, the marshal will ask to see that your helmet is on and secure. So make sure, one of the things to look out for is make sure that the strap doesn't have more than 2 fingers below the chin. So make sure that strap is relatively tight when you put it on. Before you turn up, check your bike brakes and all those sort of things as well. Make sure that you've got a roadworthy bike, and then they'll let you, and make sure the stickers on your helmet and the stickers on your bike as well. And that's important for when you leave transition, which I'll explain later. Okay, so then you've got your bike racked. The standard distance is going to go off at 7 a.m. and the sprint distance is going to go off at 8:30 a.m. One of the things we are now allowed to do is a mass start. So we're returning to mass start triathlon races. If you are a bit nervous swimmer, and then just find yourself more to the back or more to one of the sides, because it can, if you're right dead centre in the middle, it can be a bit of a bun fight to jostle for position, and elbows fly a little bit. So if you don't really want to get involved with all of that and just want a nice relaxed start to the race, then just move to one of the sides or right at the back, and then you'll be absolutely fine. One of the questions we get asked an awful lot is about wetsuits. Wetsuits depends on the temperature of the water on the morning. If it's less than, I think it's 14 degrees, then wetsuits are compulsory. If it's between 14 and 21, then they're optional, and above that, you're not allowed to wear a wetsuit. It's probable that it will be between 14 and 21, very, very, very likely. So it'll be an optional wetsuit swim, but we can't tell you until race morning. So unfortunately, it's not worth emailing us about that one, because the response will be we have to take the temperature on race morning. So that's one of the things you're going to have to wait and find out what the water temperature is. Okay, so the race will start. The standard, as I said, go off at 7. Both distances is a single lap course, so it's very nice and easy to navigate. It's just a simple rectangle, and then you'll make your way out of the water, back into the transition area. Take your wetsuit off. One of the really important rules in the transition is that you're not allowed to touch your bike until your helmet is on and secure. So make sure you do that first before taking your bike off the rack, and then you'll head out onto the bike course. But you're not allowed to get on your bike until after you've gone over the mounts line. So you'll see 2 flags there. One will say dismount here, one will say mount here, and you're not allowed to get on your bike until after that mount line. And then you'll make your way onto the bike course, complete the correct number of laps, making sure that you're not drafting. So if you have a look in the race info, there's a link to the drafting rules, so make sure you familiarise yourself with those. And then when you've completed your set number of laps, you make your way back towards the transition area, and this time you need to get off your bike before the dismount line. Then you'll head into the transition area, do the opposite for the helmet this time, so make sure your bike is on the rack before you take your helmet off. And then you get your run stuff ready, and then head out onto the run course. Before I talk about the run, if you are doing the aqua bike event, your time will stop once you're back into that transition area. But what we do, nobody wants to finish their race in a transition area next to a bike rack. So what we do invite everybody to do is to rack their bike, and then you can either walk or run over to the finish line and still cross that finish line and get that finish line feeling. But your time does stop when you're in the transition area, so that is the end of your timed race, and then it's we'll get you across the line to give you that well-earned medal. If you are heading out onto the run, if you're doing the full triathlon, then it's about roughly 2.5k to the other end of the lake, and then turn around 2.5k back. So it'd be 5k if you're doing the sprint distance, or you do that again if you're doing the standard distance for 10k. And then once you cross the line, we do ask you to give your timing chip back. Those things like gold dust to us, to make sure you take your chip off at the end and put it in the bucket provided, and then you've got your medal, water and finish line goodies all at the finish line. The PA commentator will let you know when you can go back into that transition area. Obviously it could be a live transition area, and by that I mean the race could still be going on, so we'll find a suitable time for everybody to be able to go back into the transition area to collect their bikes. And this is where the stickers are really important. So what you'll need to do when you leave the transition area is show that the sticker on your helmet and the sticker on your bike corresponds with your race number. So the marshal will ask you that when you leave the transition area. And for that reason as well, only competitors are allowed in that transition area. So you can't bring your family or your kids or anybody else there aren't going to be allowed to go into that transition area for you. So it's only competitors only. But the marshals will insist that you show those stickers. So make sure you don't put all your race numbers away when you're gathering your bike and everything. Just say have your race number, bike sticker and helmet sticker ready to show the marshal, and that'll speed all that process up. The only other thing, I'm just going to mention one other, don't want to call it negative, but earphones are not allowed. That's another question we get asked an awful lot. So earphones are not allowed on any of the legs of the triathlon, so you're not allowed to use those on the swim, bike or run. That's including the bone conductor ones and everything. So for triathlon it's no headphones allowed. I think that's about it. So if I have missed anything out, I apologise. Do pop it in the comments below, or feel free to drop us an email, and we'll get back in touch with the answers for that one for you. So very much looking forward to seeing you on the 29th, and yeah, best of luck if you are tapering and getting yourself ready for this one, or if it's your first triathlon. Hope those nerves aren't too much for you, and yeah, look forward to seeing you there. Cheers then, bye.